Welcome back from the break. Now we move on to Edo State, where political tension remains high following the outcome of the party primaries of the three main political parties in the race for the September governorship election within the state. Now, in the All Progressives Congress, APC, it was total confusion at some point as at least three aspirants laid claim to the party's ticket in a highly disputed primary election. Well, the chairman of the APC election committee, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, had declared Dennis Idahosa, a serving House of Reps member, as the winner of that primary until later on there was a problem. Now, the decision was, however, overturned by the National Working Committee of the party, who declared the election inconclusive, ordered rerun and replaced Uzodinma with Governor Basi Otu of Cross River State. Now, the rerun primaries eventually produced serving Senator Monday Okpebolo as winner of the APC governorship ticket. Now, it's the same confusion the People's Democratic Party, PDP, where former Sterling Bank chairman Asue Godalo emerged winner of the primary held at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin. This is as the deputy governor of the state, Philip Shaibu, is also laying claim to having won a parallel primary elsewhere in Benin, where he was declared winner of the party's ticket. And the Labour Party, the exercise appears to have been a little bit rancorous in some areas. Well, it was less rancorous in the official one organized by the national by the party, where the national chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, won the party's ticket. On Friday, the returning officer for the election and deputy governor of Abia State, Ikechukwu Emetu, declared Akpata as the winner with 316 votes. But we are also hearing that the Labour Party also has another candidate who is loyal to the Apapa faction of the party, and they have also written INEC to lay claim to the Labour Party's governorship ticket. Well, interesting times ahead. To help us make sense of all the issues that happened during the party primaries in Edo State, we have joining us in the studio former Edo State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Andrew Amwanta, to help us understand all these issues. Thank you so much. Interesting times ahead.
I mean, really interesting.
Yeah, well,
what
do you make? I mean, I had thought, for example, that Labour Party didn't really have a parallel primary, or it was only Akpata that emerged. All of a sudden, I heard, I think, Asemota having emerged according to the Apapa faction, and they've written the INEC and all of that. What do you make of that? Yeah,
thank you, Sambo. I think the starting point is to ask, because if you talk of factional primaries, it is for you to ask a very simple question. Does a particular political party have factions? You ask that question in the PDP, and the answer is yes, because you know you have the Danobi faction. Yeah. You discover that the secretary of the party and virtually other members of the ESCO are not with the governor. The only person with the governor is the chairman, Dr. Tony Azegbemi. You move to Labour Party, it's the same thing. At the state level, they have two factions, right? So for those parties with factions, definitely they will have factional primaries. So it was not a surprise for us to say that in PDP, you know, the Danobi group, though they were not happy, some of them were there at the venue, because for you to bring an action under Section 84 of the Electoral Act, you must have participated. Even if you score 0 votes, it must be on record that you scored 0 votes and you are challenging the process for non-compliance under Section 84, sub 3 of the Electoral Act, that says any party, any political party that fails to comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act, their candidate will not be accepted, right? So for those who participated, it was a strategy, as I was told. Then, at the end of the day, you had to primaries. One organized at the stadium, which of course the governor supervised, because the governor was there with his commissioners and House of Assembly members, even against the provisions of the Electoral Act that says political appointees or elected persons should not play any role. So if you are not a delegate, what were you doing there? Big question. You now look at the one organized by his deputy. I'm a lawyer in that case, so I will not want to comment on the legal issues arising therefrom. Because our interest there is to sway the various political parties in view of the fact that some of them had factional candidates. You come to Labour Party. Of course, you have always known that they've had factions. Even during the week, the national chairman, Abure, was, or rather the factional national chairman, Abure was arrested.
Who happens to come from Edo State,
you know,
too.
And I think it was that night or the following day or so, he was granted bail. So Edo people are watching, they're observing, because we are tired of the kind of system we have in our states. And lastly, of course, the APC. They had issues, but I think they were smart in trying to put their own house in order. Initially, I left the party because of some of the things that I felt didn't go right. But when the president intervened and the National Working Committee now asked that the process should be completed, I had a second thought. My leaders reached out to me. And I think the APC appears prepared. Just this afternoon,
so are you
the
saying
national, we are already, because you can say you are leaving a house, right? Your elders, your fathers, your leaders will say, where are you going to?
All right.
You are going nowhere. So they have decided that as a ruling party, they must act according to the law. They must follow simple rules of conducting party primaries. And they did the right thing. And as we speak, the National Working Committee has already issued the certificate of return to the person who won. Before that time,
which of the person? Because
was
APC national chairman Ganduje had congratulated Dennis Idahosa.
No matter what,
before we now
no matter what transpired before that time, because in the eyes of the law, a process that is not complete can be completed, right? It was, yes, there was a mistake.
Ganduje hasn't withdrawn his
congratulations. No, there was an error. Was it not the same national chairman that has given the certificate of return to the person who won the election when the process was completed? We've seen cases in this country where elections were not completed, where mistakes were made. Did the REC in Adamawa not declare the person that did not win the winner? But did that affect the process? No. At the end of the day, the returning officer now returned the person that won, the present governor of Adamawa. So for me, I think it is not the process, or rather it's not the outcome, it is the process. So I'm happy that the APC retraced its steps, and even there was an appeal process. The main aggrieved aspirant, my brother, Honorable Dennis Idahosa, appealed. And of course, the National Working Committee this afternoon looked at his appeal and discovered that there was no merit in it, and went ahead to do the needful by ratifying the outcome of the primaries because the committee submitted the report. And of course, this same afternoon, the certificate of return has been issued. And I know the party will forward the name of our candidate, Senator Monday Okpevo, to INEC. And I think this is the time for reconciliation, if you ask me. Across the parties, I think there's need for them to, I will not speak for other parties, but I think my party, the APC, there's need to reach out. As many persons who felt, I was not treated in a particular way. There's need for reconciliation because it is EDO people who will be facing to canvass votes. So you need a united house. But for those political parties that have two candidates, I wish them luck.
All right. Well, news we just received is that Julius Abure has congratulated Olumide Akpata as the official governorship candidate of the Labour Party. What do we now make of those people? Do we just call them as distractions to the Labour Party? Who say Anderson Asemota emerged as a Labour Party governorship candidate according to the Apapa faction and all of that. And then just this afternoon I was reading somewhere where Ansem, who is the national youth leader, controversial national youth leader, who happens to come from Edo State, yes, the Labour Party too, also saying that, look, the candidate Apapa brought in, and then the one brought in including by Abure, that all of them are products of wrong primaries. I mean, and I keep wondering, what exactly is going on?
I started from a statutory standpoint by quickly looking at what the law says. Section 84 has a very long, provision in terms of the various stages political parties must follow. If you want to organize direct primaries, this is how your direct primaries should be. If you want to organize indirect primaries, political appointees and those in government who are elected should not be part of it. So it depends on the mode that each party, decides to adopt. I know the Labour Party adopted indirect primaries.
That's the delegate system.
Yes, the delegate system. And I know they, of course, have had series of activities which culminated in the particular one where, my former president, the former president of the NBA, Olumide Akpata Esquire, emerged. And if you ask me if I sit as an official bystander, I think the one organized by Abure looks a bit real because I'm sorry to say the other one came out from the blue. We didn't hear so much of them. But they are a faction. You cannot wish them away.
Yeah,
INEC has received the reports of that election from that particular faction with its stamp that, yes, we have received it. So I really don't know who has a Supreme Court decision saying that this person is the authentic national chairman. But there are two factions. The matter will still end up in court. Because if you look at Section 84, it also says that an aspirant, that's Section 84, sub 14, that an aspirant can go to court. You cannot prevent somebody who is an aspirant who bought form. And I know my friend Anderson Asemota is warming up. He's a practicing lawyer. He bought his form from the National Secretariat. Whether it's a Bore faction he bought it from or a Papa-led faction is a different kettle of fish. He bought it from. And INEC, of course, will take that very seriously. And again, I want to quickly say that it is because everybody has come to a conclusion that the present government in Edo State has not really done much for the people. We have a civil service that is highly politicized, a situation where members of a political party are appointed as permanent secretary. The civil service, in the name of reforms, have been completely obliterated. What you have are private sector players. There's nothing like motivation.
Right.
You don't even pray one day to be in Edo State civil service where you're not sure of when you'll be made permanent secretary. Everything is politicized. I'm sorry to say, even the head of service, out of turn, was made head of service. So some of all these infractions, I think the next government, by the grace of God, the APC government, will change this madness we have in Edo State.
That's if the Edo people actually accept the APC back to power. As we try to round off this conversation, I want you to talk about Philip Shuaibu. What next for him? Because it looks like he's also blowing hot and saying that, look, if PDP at the National Secretariat accepts the candidacy of Asue Godalo, that the PDP is going to lose the election and that he is the authentic candidate. I mean, these things just keep, making a lot of those in the electorate confused. And people are asking, well, what next for him?
I will not answer that question as a politician. Do you know why? Because I'm not a member of this political party. I don't know what, dispute resolution mechanisms we want to deploy. Because, take it or leave it, he's the deputy governor of Edo State, right? And if not that, the governor has this hatred for him. He ought to have been given the right of first refusal in view of the way he supported the governor in 2016 and in 2020. And because I'm an insider, I remember last year when there was this decision between PDP and Labour Party, the deputy governor insisted that we must remain in the party. Yeah. And I remember he engaged me as a coordinator. For all our candidate cases, we pursued this thing from trial court up to the Supreme Court. The governor did not bring a dime. It was the deputy governor that funded this process. And there was somebody in the TV station that alluded to that fact. So having made these sacrifices, it's painful that these lawmakers you fought for through the courts up to the Supreme Court, even during the election, these same persons were the one Obaseki, when we now got the ticket, was planning to use against him. And we are even hearing that they are planning to stage an impeachment, plot again. They will organize protesters to go there on Monday to say they want to. You cannot, okay, even if you start the process of impeachment, it does not change the fact that he's a candidate, he's a factional candidate of the party. And I believe the party will do the right thing because the matter is in court. There was an order saying that you must come and show cause. Under Order 26, Rule 11 of the new Federal High Court Civil Procedure Rules. An order to show cause is as good as an order to maintain status quo. Don't do anything. Come and explain to me why 381 delegates should be excluded from that process. And as an aspirant under Section 84, he can go to court and say there was non-compliance because there are other issues which I cannot say here. Yeah. There are already questions before the court. So for those that want to wish Philip Shuaibu away, they are wishing away PDP's participation in the election. And I speak with every sense of authority, and I know what I'm saying.
Interesting times ahead. And very quickly, just before I let you go, I will also be asking you, what next for Oshomole now that his supposed candidate has hit the ground?
In every house, there's a father. Oshomole remains our father. We must give him that special recognition. He was national chairman of our party, the APC. He was a governor who did very well for our states. It's one thing I must give to him. Nobody can take that away from him. And as a man who is old enough to be our father, we feel that whenever there's a dispute, the father will call both sides together and settle them. And age is really telling on our leader. It is what some of the people around him told him. But I know at the end of it, because the person who has emerged is his brother senator, right? So there's room for them to come together as our leaders to tell us the direction. So he's not, if you notice, he has never come to any TV station to say, he's not happy with the outcome. No. It's just that he had a particular son that was his preference in terms of, the boy is young, he comes from a particular area, but at the end of the day, we now have a candidate. So he's our leader, we have so much respect for him, and we pray that moving forward, we'll work together as one family. And it was what the national chairman said this afternoon, that the person who emerged winner should not see himself as a winner without bringing together other aspirants. So for me, it was a case of no victor, no vanquished. So APC definitely we are taking back our mandate, which Obaseki gave to PDP in 2020. And come September this year, APC government will be elected, and by November 12th, we'll be forming government in the Sadebia Avenue.
The intrigues will continue ahead. Just lastly, in 30 seconds now, from the permutations, we have Edo Central, and Edo South as the major candidates. Do you think that the APC can withstand all these permutations?
I tell you one thing.
Edo South being where the major votes.
I tell you one thing. APC, for the first time, won a senatorial seat in Edo Central last year. And who did that magic? The present senator representing Edo Central. And who is this individual? The candidate of the APC. So that the people have been agitating for a voice. They don't want somebody who will come from Lagos, who does not have a voter's card. They want somebody who has gone through their pain, somebody who they know. Right. And Mondo Okpebo is the man that they know. Akpata is my brother. He's the Peter Obi of Edo South.
Not Edo State.
No, of Edo South. Labour Party's strength is in Edo South.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is that, it's not like NBA elections. Politicians, you must give it to them. They know how to play this game.
Right,
and we are very glad to have him because he's just running politics. And we wish him all the best.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're still saying that he has more things to learn in politics.
Of course.
Well,
yes.
He may actually have a situation whereby he would also teach this other person's politics too, if he has the potential.
He has a lot he's bringing on board.
All right.
Yes.
We must thank you so much, Andrew Amwanta, who's
a pleasure.
A lawyer and then, of course, a political strategist and a former commissioner in Edo State. We must thank you so much for helping us to understand the politics. And, of course, we just hope that this politics ahead of September will be played under an atmosphere of decorum, because Nigerians are already going through so much economic problems, and we don't expect any political turmoil in Edo State ahead of the September election. Well, that's the much we can take on this edition of This Week. Thanks so much to all our guests who have joined us here, and of course our production team in Abuja, Lagos, and London to join us same time next week for another